Thanks for staying with us on this morning's broadcast here on News Central Television. Let's take a look at the top stories for News Now for this hour. IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu to appear before court. 19 feared dead in renewed cold clash in Obelle Community in River State. And mass to call for peace between warring parties holds in Kinshasa, DR Congo. This is News Now with me, Joe Hansen. The stories coming up shortly. News Central Now this hour begins with judicial matters. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has been ordered to appear for a hearing on Monday, February 10, 2025, before Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court, Abuja. Kanu had earlier requested that his case be transferred to the southeast if no judge at the Federal High Court in Abuja was willing to handle it, apart from Justice Nyako. On September 24, 2024, during one of the court sessions, Kanu made a request before the open court that Justice Nyako should recuse herself from his trial, citing a lack of confidence in her. Following this request, Justice Nyako recused herself and transferred the case file to Justice Shoso. However, Justice Shoho, subsequently returned the case file to Justice Nyako for the continuation of the trial. Well, let's stay with the courts now. The Supreme Court is set to hear two appeals filed by the All Progressives Congress challenging the legality of the local government election conducted in River State in 2024. The court is hearing the suit following the conclusion of the preliminary proceedings by Justice Wani Abaji, who led a 5-member panel that ordered parties to file and exchange their respective briefs before the 10th of February 2025. The appeals are against a judgment by the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which reversed an earlier decision by Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court, Abuja, restraining the Independent National Electoral Commission from releasing voters registered to the River State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct the LG election. Justice Lifu had predicated his decision on the grounds that conditions precedent for the conduct of such election were not met by RISIC. Let's now move to security matters in River State, where at least 19 people were feared killed in a renewed cold clash in Obelle Community, Emohua Local Government Area of River State on Sunday. The violence erupted between the Deybam and Icelanders cult groups, sending residents fleeing for safety. This follows a deadly attack last Wednesday where 7 people were killed by suspected cultists. It was gathered that Sunday's clash began as retaliation, with both groups engaging in a fierce battle for supremacy. Police spokesperson Grace Iringe-Koko confirmed the incident, linking it to a dispute over levies from an oil company. She stated that 10 people were confirmed dead and an investigation is ongoing. Residents are calling for urgent government intervention. Let's stay in River State, where demonstrations broke out on Sunday in Emohua Community in Ikwere Local Government Area of River State. The demonstrations followed the death of one Chukuma Ebule, a native of the community who was allegedly shot and killed by a policeman attached to the Omagwa Division of the River State Police Command. The protesters initially carried the body of the slain youth to the Omagwa Divisional Police Station, where they intended to deposit it. They were, however, resisted and repelled by the policemen on the ground there. They then decided to block the road in protest, causing heavy gridlock on the busy highway which leads to the airport and to Owerri, Imo State. When contacted, a spokesperson for the command, Superintendent Grace Iringe-Koko, said the command is aware of the situation. She said the corpse of the slain youth has been deposited at the morgue, while the police officers involved have been detained pending an investigation into the incident. Well, I do have Austin Azu, who's joining me now live from the said community. Good morning, Austin. And can you quickly give us an update on the latest story, especially the latest development on this particular incident?
All right, good morning, Joe. We are currently at the family house of Matthew Chukwuman Egwulem, the 35-year-old man and the father of 6 whose life was cut short yesterday by the police bullets. However, the mood at this family house seems to be very moody, and everyone seems to be at sorrowful state, and the cloud is quite heavy here at the compound here. I have the wife of late Maxwell Egwulem, Mrs. Doris Egwulem. Please tell us, how do you feel? What happened yesterday?
That fateful night, I was in the kitchen with my husband. He said he wanted to eat. So I was about to dish food for him when we heard policemen, their sound. I went to the window and peeped. I said, policemen are around, what is it? He said, policemen. I said, yes. He went to the backyard door, which is at the kitchen, and used his body to hold the door. Me, I went to the window and said, sir, please, I was talking to the policeman. Sir, please, what happened? What is the problem? What happened? They said I should go to the room. I should go and bring key and open the door. I said, how will I open that? I don't know your faces. What happened? And I meet my husband in the kitchen. I said, I called him. I said, policemen are here. They said I should open. They said I should not open the door. I should not open the door. They were pushing the door. The policemen were pushing the door, hitting the door with stone, with pillar, many things they use and be hitting the door. So when he was tired of holding the door, he put his hand in his pocket and gave me 5,000. Inside the 5,000, he collected 2,000 and gave me his phone that he's going to follow through the pigeonhole and go outside. So when he passed through the pigeonhole to go outside, one policeman, which I know his face, started shouting, fire, shoot him down, shoot him down, shoot him. I was begging, sir, please don't shoot. Sir, please don't shoot. Sir, please don't shoot. We'll settle this matter. As soon as the man said shoot it, the other man shoot the gun. That was when they came to the front protector and said I should open the door. With the fear, I opened the protector. So they came in and started beating me. After beating, they said I should sit on the floor. I sat on the floor. They said, where is the gun? I said, which gun? They entered my husband's bedroom. I followed them inside. They searched. They searched all the house. They did not say anything. They said I should follow them. When I got outside, I saw five police van, white, with one Sienna. They pushed me inside the Sienna and took me to their station, Omagwa Division. That was when they put me inside cell. After some moments, when I was inside the cell, they called me that I should come out, that my husband is looking for me. I came out. I did not see my husband. I stood there. They said, don't I have sense? Am I stupid? Won't I start going home that night? Around after 10, they said I should start going. I started running to the house. At the point where I saw one of my husband's brother with bike, started crying that my husband is dead. I said it's a lie. When I looked front, I saw one motor coming. As the motor reached me, I turned the back of the motor. I saw my husband dead body inside the boot. That was what happened.
Yes, that's Victory Maxwell, the wife of the victim. We have the younger sister here, Doris Egwulem. Please tell us what's more.
My name is Doris Malu. So I am the younger sister of Maxwell Egwulem. Maxwell Egwulem is a very nice man. Even the community will tell more about him. He's a very nice man. He works harder. He's a businessman. He do his land agents and selling of land. That is his occupation. The community will tell you more about this guy. He's a very nice and good man. He gives the last card for you to stand. He never insults anybody. He never big or small. He's always a nice man. Even when his wife cook a full pot of food, he will bring it out for the youth to eat. The community will tell you more and more about this man. He's too innocent to die. And I Doris Madu, need full justice for my beloved brother. Thank you very much.
All right, we have the eldest brother here, Bright Egwulem. Please tell us, what do the family seek at the moment?
Thank you very much. As I can hear from everybody, including his wife, they are all asking for justice. Let justice be done via the death of my younger brother. You can see his kids, very, very small, and at this early age, they are missing their dad, they are missing their father, they are missing their dear love. What happened has happened. after his son. So since he have by himself decided to kill our brother, in return what we need is justice. Thank you.
Why the family seems to await the justice that will be served to their late brother. However, the victims' children who are very minor will have to live with the mental picture of their father throughout their lives. Back to you, Joe.
Well, a very sad situation there. Very sad story. Thank you so much, Austin Azu, and do extend our condolences to the family, especially from all of us here at News Central Television. Well, away from that story, let's still stay with security matters, especially with the Nigerian police. Well, the Nigerian police force has dismissed rumors that the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, is back in operation. Social media reports had claimed that the controversial unit dissolved on October 11, 2020, after the End SARS protest had been reinstated. However, police spokesperson ACP Olumuyiwa Dejobi, in a statement on Monday, reaffirmed that SARS remains disbanded. He urged Nigerians to verify information before spreading falsehoods. According to the ACP, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, is not back in operation. Let's still stay with security matters. The chieftain of the Ohanese Youth Council, Oyo Igboayaka, was abducted by yet-to-be-identified gunmen in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The gunmen, numbering about 7, reportedly ambushed Igboayaka within the Owerri municipality. President of Igbo National Council, Chilus Godsend, confirmed that Igboayaka was abducted on Saturday evening. This comes as a popular native doctor known as Oka Okuko Tiwaraki was arrested on allegations of misleading young people with a promise of affluence through some diabolic means. Such practices have been identified by the Anambra State government as a major motivating factor responsible for the rise in kidnapping, abduction and incessant killings in the state. Meanwhile, as Anambra State continues to battle with insecurity, some residents say certain factors are contributing to the rise in violent crimes in the state. In their opinion, a lack of viable employment to engage the huge population of youth is leading to many of them turning to crime. News Central's Chinwe Ogele tells us more in this package.
Gradually, pockets of crimes within Anambra State and its neighboring states developed to an unbelievable spate, scaring all who live in the state. A few voices cry out for adequate attention to be paid to the growing insecurity, but government apparently sees it as political distractions from opposition in the state, thereby failing to accord it the seriousness and attention it deserves.
That is the attention we have paid to it. When we are calling out the governor on insecurity, we are shouting. So that I was not just calling out the governor, I was calling the other stakeholders to join hands to call him out. If we have done this 3 years ago, or say 2 years ago, you would have known where we are.
Maybe the government has not been serious initially that they are doing now. Now the government has come out in full force to tackle the situation.
Today, there's hardly any part of the state that is free of the menace, raising questions of what exactly is the reason behind such magnitude of insecurity. Some residents of the state say beyond late rescue mission by the government, the cause cannot be far-fetched from unemployment.
People, all these graduates, they don't have job doing. If you spend money training your child for 15 years, when you come out, no job. There is no job. They'll be roaming about the street.
There is yet another factor which is spreading like wildfire among the youth in the state: cultism.
So as a leader, when I came in, I checked my constituency. The number 1 on the list was insecurity. Where over 60 persons were killed under 3 weeks. In state capital, I represent the state capital. Young people, newly married, young family.
It's unresolved. Every day people will be dying. People will be killing each other. Our young boys will be dying. How many? In scores.
The police in Anambra State also confirm that activities of cultists have assumed a new dimension, leading to loss of lives and harm on those involved.
Also, the capital city, you can believe in me that what we normally witness here is cult-related activities, and with what Ndioka and most especially the residents of this area have done, they have given us information on these hoodlums and how they operate, and these have brought about the recent achievement we had.
While the Anambra State government continues to chase after touts to end touting in Awka and Onitsha using a task force, it may also beam its searchlight towards cultists to stem the tide of attacks and deaths recorded at every hit. In Awka for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
Very interesting reports there. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the basic extension of Nigeria's educational system. Stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us here on News Now. In Nigeria's northeast, ravaged by years of terrorist activities, the Borno State government says it has trained over 1,000 primary school teachers across 19 local government education authorities. The government says the capacity building training is aimed at improving teaching standards and enhancing the quality of education. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
With available statistics having over 2,000 teachers murdered, over 19,000 displaced in Borno, Yobe and Adamawa between 2009 and 2018, Nigeria's northeast grapples to meet up with the devastation caused by insurgency. Focused on improving teaching methodologies, digital literacy and curriculum updates to meet contemporary educational standards, Borno State government has engaged teachers towards boosting its primary school education system.
We will impart the knowledge to the students and the pupils, and then too we achieve and benefit what we the teachers have achieved also.
Chairman sitting there Borno Chairman Nasler di done kre kanuri da yana kuma kusudi konda yare da lenyero wallo na ma adan de futu ko ruma idi ngo shiklain kama mar gote ruma na gote lenya adan de se ya allemye chairman course ndembe shiro cultural and creative asset broman bay.
Stakeholders in the education sector emphasize the importance of continuous professional development for educators to adapt to new learning strategies, particularly as the state recover from insurgency.
This is phase 4. We have a phase 5 in March, inshallah, in view, and a phase 6 for those who are attending the regular NCE program. But after phase 5, we will declare that Borno has gone beyond unqualified teachers.
We have to also take on undertaking that no single teacher will be dismissed during this exercise. And alhamdulillah, up to date, they have not deviated from this agreement up to this moment, because those that have failed are the ones that are receiving these pressure courses.
Please go back to the classroom and teach our pupils and teach the learners. You are here, like Babambola said, you have been receiving a lot. Your salary has been moving. Minimum wage has been implemented. Please go back to the class and teach our learners. Are you promising that?
One major issue raised is the persistent absenteeism of teachers, which the government says it will handle. In Bama for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Well, let's tell you that the federal government will meet with the Nigeria Union of Teachers and the All Nigeria Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools and COPS on Wednesday to discuss extending basic education to 12 years. The proposal by Education Minister Tunji Alausa aims to merge junior and senior secondary education into a continuous program. While some stakeholders support it, others call for further deliberation. ANCOP's President Musa Ibrahim clarified that the proposal is not yet law, while NUT President Aldu Amba stressed the need for analysis before commenting. Meanwhile, PTA Chairman Aruna Danjuma welcomed the idea, saying it would reduce dropouts and improve vocational skills. The meeting in Abuja is expected to shape the future of Nigeria's education system. Well, to discuss this, I'm being joined by educationist Jolawo Olufumilayo. Thank you so much for being here. Well, what are the potential benefits and drawbacks of extending basic education to 12 years, particularly in the Nigerian context? Because when this information was indeed reeled out, it indeed elicited different reactions from different quarters. So what's your take?
Yeah, good morning again. It's nice to be here again. I like your question because you added the Nigerian context. So what are we aiming at here? That's the most important thing. I believe before this kind of declaration, they could have have a stakeholder meeting, long deliberations, not after saying it, then we're not having a meeting after it has been put out there. Now, what's the whole essence of extending your basic education? Prior to this, what we still run now, we have basic education up to JS3. Then at that point, the student is supposed to decide if he wants to go on to vocational studies or continue with the educational studies. But Nigeria is quite a unique society, a unique system. In that, there's this very strong disparity between the academia, going to university and all that, and doing vocations. In countries like the US that have the 12 years basic education, the vocational occupation has been professionalized. There are a lot of degrees, a lot of certificates, even in the vocational studies, that you can be a plumber, you can be an electrician, and you can still live a very good life. Do you understand? So, but here we have that's not even there. Even in the ministries, I don't know if a graduate and let's say an OND holder, for example, will have the same level when they are employed. So what is the main essence? That's the question here. Why? What are you trying to achieve? Because if you extend it to 12 years, then definitely we are going to differentiate a lot of people. If what is on ground? What's the end game? Why are we doing this at this time? I think that's the most important question.
All right, but how feasible do you think this proposal would be, considering the current challenges in the education sector? I mean, we do have inadequate infrastructure, the teachers are not well paid, and Nigeria's educational system seems to be shifting from a more focus on government-owned schools to private-owned schools. So how do you think this would actually work?
Like I said, planning. The most important thing first is why, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around why. Because that is going to cascade down the line. Curriculums, British curriculum, IJMD, things like that. What's going to happen in those schools? Even the infrastructure, what's going to happen to our trade schools? Because we still have trade schools that teach carpentry and all that. What's going to happen there? How are you going to admit students into that sector? How are you going to get students into that? What about, the students themselves, getting all the way to year 12 and now going into vocation if that's what they want to do. If it's possible, like our former system, where you spend 3 years, you get the basics, you know how to write, how to read, how to do basic mathematics, civic studies, everything is there. Then you go into your trade and electrical studies, carpentry, woodwork, AC cooling, things like that, and you can face it and move on and just make it attractive. Make it attractive. I think that's what we really need to do. Make it attractive. Make sure you have certificates that can professionalize those vocational studies, and they are proud of what they are doing, and they can move on. That's what I think, because the infrastructure on ground is telling on education as we speak. Even the academia, the teachers, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. I think we just need to take a chill pill, look at the whole system again and plan it and make sure it cuts across the whole sector. You know, we have the private sector that should be involved in this, the public primary that should be involved in this, have, you know, a full sit down and look at the curriculum from start to finish, you know, the whole product line before we decide to, you know, revamp it all over again. You know, because the case of, you know, somebody coming revamping, a couple of months ago, there was a big shake in the educational sector where we're talking about the age limit, you know, things like that. I remember discussing that on this channel. So I think we just need to just, you know, chill, you know, make sure we have good interaction with people in the sector and come up with something solid vis-a-vis our own unique needs in Nigeria.
Well, you've basically touched on almost all the aspects. There should be a proper sit down to review this entire decision being made. I think that's why the meeting is, of course, would be held. But my final question to you is this. Do you think that the Nigerian educational system truly needs an overhaul? Do you think it needs to be overhauled and then there should be a new format? I mean, looking at other countries where it's not just best practice to continue the same method and processes of education, yet we're having graduates come out and they seem not to have a work to do. So do you think that it deserves to be overhauled and there should be a new process like this, which is to be implemented?
Exactly. Like I said, you know, and this is my own personal opinion, you know, we've placed so much emphasis on paper certifications, okay? And you wouldn't really blame anyone that just wants to grab a paper certification because that's what everybody wants. But is that working for us as a society? That's the question. We're pushing our graduates every year, no jobs. You know, the government is even trying to synthesize people to, you know, go into other things, farming, you know, other things. And so we'll put little burden on the employment space. But the question is, what are we doing in the educational space to encourage this? We don't have any. If the formal structure we have, if maintained and followed through, it's a fantastic structure for our own local challenges. Because in that space, when you get to JS3, which you have had all the basic educations, you can decide at that point, you know, to either go through, you know, reading academics or going through vocational. Okay, but I still maintain that if vocational, if that structure is looked into well and vocational is made attractive, you know, it's one, it will reduce the strain on the employment industry. It will reduce strain on just pushing out graduates and everybody runs to NYSC and after NYSC, what next? Do you understand? What next? So it's very important that, and that's why I said we have to have a wide expanse meeting with the policy planners. The plan has been put out there, and there's a meeting on Wednesday. But before the plan should be put out there, I believe we should have an expanse deliberation and look at what works for us as a person, not adopt. Even if you look at it in Europe, for example, different countries have different unique plans. Even in the UK, they have different unique plans for the educational system.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much. I think we're out of time. But thanks for your thoughts concerning this particular story. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, let's move on now to our next story. The Director General of the NAFDAC, talking about Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has called for the death penalty for individuals dealing in fake drugs, especially when their actions lead to death. Speaking at an event, Adeyeye described drug peddlers as merchants of death and stressed that harsher punishments were needed to curb the menace. She criticized lenient penalties, citing cases where offenders importing harmful drugs like high-dose tramadol receive only minor fines or short jail terms. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has urged the Attorney General to propose tougher sanctions, including the death penalty for counterfeit drug producers. Lawmakers also called for increased funding and resources for NAFDAC and other regulatory agencies to improve enforcement. Women farmers in Nigeria have raised an alarm over the reduction in the budget proposal of the Ministry of Agriculture. They say this puts Nigeria's food security aspirations at risk, reduces the performance of the ministry, and will have telling effects on food production. Amadine Uyi compiled this report and tells us more.
The last few weeks has seen Nigeria's 2025 budget proposal come under scrutiny from various stakeholders. This is not new, as lawmakers have continued to review the proposed bill before its final passage and subsequent assent into law by President Bola Tinubu. This time, stakeholders in the agricultural sector, comprising women farmers, have raised an alarm over the reduction in the Agriculture Ministry's budget proposal.
The allocation to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security declined by 36.19% from a total of 999.901 billion naira in 2024 to 636.06 billion naira in the 2025 budget proposal.
As they gather to appraise the budget and how it can affect Nigeria's quest to achieve food security, they say several other components of the proposal are concerning.
The recapitalization of the Bank of Agriculture, which was started by the previous administration, has faced unnecessary delays. We insist that it be completed within the first quarter of 2025 as committed, and that the full 1.5 trillion be promptly released to guarantee its successful implementation.
It is alarming for the National Agricultural Development Fund to budget 3 billion naira for the purchase of office building for operation, considering the increased hunger and poverty in Nigeria. This allocation should be redirected to interventions that would support farmers out of poverty.
They are unanimous in agreeing that the reduction in the agricultural budget will have telling effects on farmers and the ministry's performance.
The poor budget allocation to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security headquarters in the 2025 proposed budget is poisoned to weaken the performance of the ministry in the 2025 fiscal year, as its budget allocation declined by 45.78% from 886.65 billion naira in 2024 to 405.93 billion naira in the 2025 budget proposal.
There is a need to increase the allocation to the ministry and ensure that the projects provided in the budget are adequately conceptualized and framed to deliver on the overall objective of the ministry.
These women are calling on government to show more commitment to agriculture by matching their words with action. They say the budget proposal is proof of this commitment.
Well, coming up next here on News Now, regional leaders push for ceasefire in Eastern DRC. We'll have this story and more after the break. Welcome back. A mass was held in Kinshasa to call for peace in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In a sermon, the leader of the church, Cardinal Fridolin Besungu, said dialogue is the sacred keyword that can help the country get out of its current situation. Other people say it is important to cease fire so that peace reigns in the eastern part of the republic.
Dialogue, c'est le mot sacré, c'est le maître mot qui peut nous aider à sortir de notre situation actuelle. Nous trouverons des solutions à nos crises qui durent depuis des décennies en dialoguant, même avec ceux-là que nous considérons comme des ennemis.
Appeler toutes les parties à négocier et à cesser les feux, pour moi, est une décision un peu salvatrice parce que nous constatons déjà que la République démocratique du Congo a perdu près de 3000 personnes. Donc les personnes sont mortes et ça cause en tout cas beaucoup de pertes et beaucoup de soucis aux Congolais. Et donc il est important à l'heure actuelle de pouvoir cesser les faits pour que la paix règne dans notre partie est de la République.
Et je crains parce que connaissant les acteurs, on ne sait pas vraiment les intérêts ou les agendas autour de tout ce qui les anime là-bas. Et donc nous devons bien sûr de bonne foi souhaiter que ça soit respecté, mais tout en n'étant pas naïf, nous devons vraiment demander à notre gouvernement, au FRDC, aux Azalendo et aux Congolais.
Meanwhile, an uneasy calm has settled over the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo after regional leaders called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire within 5 days. The Rwandan-backed M23 movement has seized significant territory in the mineral-rich east, killing thousands and displacing many more. The conflict has sparked fears of a wider war, prompting East and Southern African leaders to urge a ceasefire at a summit on Saturday. Rwandan President Paul Kagame and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi participated in the summit, with Tshisekedi joining via video link. Locals in Bukavu, a city in the M23 sites, remain skeptical about the prospects for lasting peace. Well, let's also tell you that the Jacob Zuma's party, MKP, is making headlines after announcing plans to open a treason case against the civil rights organization AfriForum. The legal move comes on the heels of remarks made by the U.S. President Donald Trump that he is cutting aid to South Africa because of the expropriation bill that was signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa. In 2018, leaders of AfriForum traveled to the U.S., claiming that South Africa is pushing policies that could harm the country. Recently, the group also said it will write to the U.S. government to urge sanctions against ANC. Well, to discuss this, I have Elton Hart, attorney with the University of Johannesburg Law Clinic. Thank you so much, Hart, for joining us. Let's look at this. Do you believe the AfriForum statement asking that Trump, especially sanction South Africa, constitutes treason? Based on the existing laws and precedents in South Africa?
No, undoubtedly so. Their behavior is nothing short of treacherous, in the sense that if there is sanctions, that could eventually lead to tensions and volatile tensions within the country, which would then sort of endanger the stability and security within the country. That amounts to the common law offense of high treason. And I think their behavior over the past was with the sole intention of harming not just the ANC as they allege, because they know that the ANC is the ruling party, but it will harm the entire Republic of South Africa. So their behavior falls within that box of high treason, and they should be treated in such a way.
Well, what potential counter-arguments could the AfriForum bring forth to challenge the MK party's claims of treason?
I don't foresee anything that they can use as a counter-argument, because what they were basing their letters or their engagement with the USA to say that white people is getting killed, farms is being expropriated, which is all false information, because currently we have people of European descent in South Africa owning farms. No farm has been expropriated since the bill has been signed, even earmarked to be expropriated, because there is a process to be followed and fair compensation. So whatever they were doing, and they were even trying to say farm murders, but when you look at farm murders, it's not only people of European descent that's been killed on farms, it's all South Africans, all race groups, different race groups that's been killed on one farm. So their whole argument that they ran to the US for internal things in South Africa that can be handled to promote unity, they've now opened that lid so to show that we are a divided nation, and that just fueled some racial tension in our country, which then for me, it comes down to where you say violating and threatening or endangering the existence, independence or security of the Republic. And hence I feel that they cannot come and, because they went on national television and saying this is their stance. Even that spokesperson of the Oranje, which is a little state that they try and develop in South Africa, they share these sentiments with solidarity. And I think that's not in the interest of national unity as envisaged in our constitution. It goes against the grain of our constitution.
Anyway, Mr. Hart, I'd also like to ask, what are the potential consequences for AfriForum if they are found guilty of treason?
Obviously, they will. Obviously they can face jail time, especially the individuals that went public with these statements to say that we wrote to the U.S. government, and based on what we wrote to them, obviously Trump issued executive orders against that sanctions, and even offered people from European descent refugee status to go to America, which I think that for me amounts to treason, and it should be treated, and they should be, if found guilty, sent to jail, because we do not need people of that caliber and nature in our country, because we are a rainbow nation, we are South Africans, and we strive to unite our nation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Elton Hart, for joining us, and thank you for shedding light on this conversation. President Donald Trump has said he will announce a 25% import tax on all steel and aluminium entering the U.S., a move that will have the biggest impact in Canada. Speaking aboard Air Force One, Trump said on Monday he would announce tariffs on everybody for steel and aluminium. Trump also said that there would be an announcement later in the week about reciprocal tariffs on all countries that tax imports from the U.S., but he did not specify which nations would be targeted or if there would be any exemptions. Canada and Mexico are two of the U.S.'s biggest steel trading partners, and Canada is the biggest supplier of aluminium metal into the U.S.
Steel tariffs on Monday.
Tomorrow?
Monday, yeah, tomorrow.
What countries will those go on?
Everybody. Steel.
Including Canada and Mexico?
Yeah. Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about aluminum, sir?
Aluminum too.
10%?
No, 25%.
25%.
In sports, Nigeria's men's basketball team, the Tigers, have opened camp in Abuja today ahead of the next phase of the 2025 FIBA Afro-Basket qualifiers. The Nigeria Basketball Federation, NBBF, confirmed that the 11 home-based players will begin preparations, while their foreign-based counterparts will join them in Libya on February 17. Head coach Abdul Rahman Mohammed will lead the team, assisted by former international DJ Akindele and NBA coach Ishaku Smart. The qualifiers will take place in Tripoli from February 17 to 24, with the top 3 teams advancing to the tournament in Angola. The NBBF released a 24-man preliminary squad, including team captain Ike Ngwamu, Zed Harris, and of course not forgetting to Christian Mikolu. Well, away from basketball now. Akwa United secured a crucial 2-1 victory over Eyimba in their NPFL Matchday 23 clash in New York, marking their first league win in 8 games. Jacob Oguleye opened the scoring for the Promise Keepers in the 26th minute, but Issa Mohammed equalized for Eyimba before halftime. Uche Sebastian netted a winner in the 75th minute, lifting Akwa United to 18th place with 23 points. In Port Harcourt, Rivers United ended their 6-game winless run with a 1-0 victory over Lobby Stars. Timothy Zachariah struck in the 88th minute to secure all 3 points, moving Rivers United to 3rd place with 38 points from 23 matches. Abia Warriors secured a 3-0 win over Sunshine Stars at the Umuahia Township Stadium, sending the Akure side into the drop zone, while the Warriors climbed up to 4th. That's all the news we have for you for this hour. Before we go, let's take a look at some of the major stories. IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu to appear before court over alleged treason. 19 people are feared dead in renewed court clash in Obelle Community in Rivers State. And we also told you that a mass to call for peace between warring parties has been held in Kinshasa, DR Congo. You can watch News Central live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the following platforms: DSTV, Channel 422, Star Times, Channel 274, Avo TV, and you can stream live on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm Joe Hansen, thanking you for watching. The ladies will be here at 10 for Jasiri. Stay tuned.